Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's May 8th, 2025. I think today's video is going to be a bit of a rambling one, well, storytelling one. And so things have been crazy around here, well, for a few months, since February 20th when the building collapsed and all. But the rain has really been something else. You know, it's a light sprinkle, a mist right now. And it's about 41 degrees Fahrenheit. It's supposed to get up to 51 degrees today, but it's complete overcast, central New York weather and all. But thank God the rain has let up. I'll probably do some work in the garden today, but I thought what I'd do is just share some of my thoughts of things that have been going on recently. So yesterday, I did take a walk around and just look at the swales, the canals, and the ponds. And I didn't do a great job with that video. But my goal was, after we've had quite a bit of rain, a lot, more. So here in central New York, the range can really be pretty broad as far as how much rain we're actually getting during the spring times. And usually we get it spread out during the spring, where you're not getting 4 inches at in a couple of hour period. But we've had a lot of rain recently. I think I showed like over 3 inches in one 24-hour period, and then yesterday, before that, another 4 inches in a 24-hour period. So we've had a lot of rain here. I don't know why we got hit so heavy. Well, we didn't get hit with big storms, but we got a lot of rain. And so I walked around yesterday to look at the swales, canals, and all of that before meetings and all. And so, some of my days are just completely jam-packed with writing logs, my work logs, my communication logs. The communication logs are very long. Trying to make sure I'm documenting everything and trying to go someplace with this conversation. If there's something I could share with people, is to really document, to keep records of all of the things that you own, that you do, when your communication, like with this, with the building collapse and all that, all my communications with each one of the insurance adjusters and all that. And as a basic, for those of you that aren't familiar, so we had in February 20th, over 8 foot of snow resulted in the collapse of the building behind me here, our workshop, which is attached to that building there, which got severely damaged as well. And all of my heavy equipment was in this, and my mowers and all that, and so many of my tools and so many building materials, all those things were in here. And it's a real pain in the butt documenting all the things that you have. People often don't recognize it until the time that they've got to move. Then they realize they've got so much stuff. Now, if you're a homesteader that's been doing this since the 70s, like me or us, and if you're a do-it-yourself person and you develop the skills for woodworking, for masonry work, concrete work, doing all the different things that we do, you have lots and lots of different tools and different supplies and different parts. And then when you run businesses, like we ran a wildlife rehabilitation center, we're both medical doctors. I have medical supplies and equipment in here. Veterinarians are what we are. We're retired now. And then we have the nursery, the farm, and an online bookstore, all of those things. Well, you get lots and lots of stuff, and sometimes we don't document everything that we have. And I just think it's so important to at least go around with your camera and take pictures of things. Nowadays, if you buy something online, you can download a copy, always print it off as a PDF, and keep records on computers and have backups to your computers, those sorts of things. and all. And I guess the reason I'm saying this is I've been doing that for the most part for years. And yesterday I met with Michael, who is our public adjuster. He's sort of the one who orchestrates everything, puts everything together, communicates with the insurance claim desk adjuster. And we've had, I don't know how many adjusters come out here since the building collapsed. And I've provided them, like I would go online and rebuild each one of my Kubota tractors, get estimates for replacement for the track loader, the excavator, you know, the BCS tractors, mowers, everything. And like with Kubota, you can go, you can just search for build my Kubota, something like that, and it'll bring you to a site, and you just say, okay, with a tractor, what tractor do you have, or what one are you interested in, and you can build it and customize it to the way you want, and then you can go to a dealer and sometimes get a better deal than building it online, the manufacturer's suggested retail price. So I did all of those things. I gave out handouts to everyone. I made printouts before about the concerns about, a 16-foot high ceiling loaded with 8 foot of snow, the 30 pounds per square foot for the weight of the wet snow, coming down, traveling with a velocity, hitting the equipment, doing damage, all of those sorts of things, and the possibility of there being unseen damage that could compromise the safety or the functionality of the equipment in the future. So I made all of these different documents, and I made sure that I handed these out to the appropriate adjusters when they'd come and all. And I'm still getting adjusters contacting me and saying, well, have you gotten estimates for this yet? And some of these things, no. I mean, it took me forever to get them out. And it's kind of tough because some of these pieces of equipment, now my dealer in Palmyra, New York, that handles all my Kubotas, yep, he's coming and picking up equipment one by one. But when you're talking about an excavator or a track loader or the Avant 860i, all of these are in different locations. And it means coming, shipping, picking up the equipment, taking it back there, doing analysis, bringing it back, and then submitting the estimates for it. So it's a real hassle and all. And boy, I'm really going on about this. But it's just, and that's just the big equipment. That isn't all of the other stuff, that all your tools, your woodworking tools, your metalworking tools, all of those sorts of things. And I'm not trying to make this sound like a nightmare, but I'm one of those people that's kind of odd, different, where I'm really anal retentive and all. And so yesterday I met with Michael, as I mentioned, and he's the one who sort of puts everything together. So we had gotten the public adjusters, so about a month ago, not quite a month ago, I got the insurance company's adjuster's estimate for rebuilding this building here, and that was just over a couple $100,000. I can't remember the exact amount, but they would release $161,000, and after it's built and all of the other things that were done, then they would come up with the rest of it. Because in my insurance policy, I had a replacement value, not actual cash value. So when you get an insurance policy, it's really important to make sure that you have at replacement value costs. And the more that you know about the building itself, because they're just going to put the dimensions of the building into a computer model, and they're going to come up with an estimate for it. And I thought I'd just go through some of the numbers for you so you have an idea of what it is. Now, this isn't the contents, this is just the building itself. And my building wasn't like a typical building. Huge network system in here, multiple camera systems and all, 7 outdoor cameras that are not inexpensive cameras, a computer system that would take all of the camera information and then dump it onto a server, and that server backed up as well. So all of those things were going on in here, and then 20 internal cameras. I thought there were 16, but there are actually 20 cameras on the internal surface, monitoring things as well. And so when Michael was here yesterday, you know, he said, I just got to know, have you had some horrible experience why you have all of this security? And I think I've mentioned before that I'm sorry I'm jumping around in this conversation. So Valney Multiplex, which is a security, fire and burglary is what they were initially. Now I think they do camera systems as well. But they were the ones who installed my first fire and burglary system in our house. I'm talking around 1985. That was a great system, worked very, very well. I'm kind of geeky with things and all. Then later on, Time Warner came up with a security system after I had these buildings rebuilt. And these were rebuilt. I originally built the original buildings, which were pole barns, and so we ran the wildlife center here. We took care of, we raised thoroughbred horses years ago. And this building here was a real small little arena that we use for helping to do sports conditioning for the young horses that we're thinking going to the racetrack and all. Now, things changed drastically. I'm not going to go into that story. I've made videos on those topics in the past. But then Thea and I ran a wildlife rehabilitation center, and our kids were involved in that as well. And then we had this building rebuilt. Footers poured, block walls, the concrete floors poured, and the buildings erected and all. And we went all out. You know, I was doing really well. Both of us, you know, doctors, veterinarians. I was a board certified internal medicine specialist that did critical care medicine. And I had lots of work hours with that. So I guess you could say I'm a go-getter when it comes to being very proactive and all about things. So we were making pretty good money at that time, and so we went all out getting this built and all. And Time Warner, who was providing internet and other potential services, TV back then and all, but I had TV cut off years and years ago. But I had them install the burglary system here. Then I installed the camera systems and computer systems in here. And things got busy. Our lives moved on. I worked crazy hours, very, very long hours with my job and all. And we had a couple of incidents in our lives, and this gets back to what, I'm sorry this is jumping around so much, hopefully this is making sense. So Michael said to me, geez, have you had some really terrible experience? Because when you come down, one of the first things he noticed is all the cameras, these not inexpensive cameras on the outside of all the buildings. And I was going over all the cameras in here as well. And when he sits at the table, you know, there's 3 different cameras looking at him in the dining room while we're sitting there talking. And he said, well, can you tell me, did you have some devastating or some impactful incident that happened where you've gone to this extent doing these things? Well, yes, we've had several different events. So when Thea and I lived in Somerville, which is just outside of Ithaca, New York, where Thea and I were at Cornell University for years, about 10 years. And when I was there one night, while we were both home, we had, and I won't go into all the details of it, but we had some people break into my Bronco 2 and destroy that, take most of my medical supplies, my emergency turnout gear, my teaching sets, those sorts of things. And they stole my tractor, the Case 995 that you've seen in some of our older videos. And you know, everything worked out with the insurance. They did the repairs of the Bronco. The dogs were barking. we have massive dogs, Rottweilers, English Mastiff, you know, a whole bunch of dogs, and they were barking like crazy during this whole event. And I was just dead tired because I'd been working so many hours in the clinics. And you don't work just an 8 or 10 or 12-hour shift. You're working multiple, 12. Sometimes you're there all night and the next day as well. So I was just completely exhausted and dead to the world. I hollered to the dogs a few times, you know, quiet, quiet. Then it dawned on me, geez, I hear a tractor, sounds a lot like mine. And it's, you know, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I ran outside. Now this is before cell phones and all. And I went to jump in the Bronco because I see my tractor going down. We lived on the top of a big hill in Summer Hill on Route 90. And I could see my tractor driving down the road. I jumped in the truck and I saw, oh, the steering column's all taken apart. Nothing's working there. So I went back in the house, got on the phone, landlines, the way we had them back then. And I got in touch with the state police and I told them exactly where the tractor was going and all. And long story short, we got the tractor back. There was some damage and all. Everything got straightened out. But we had that experience. And that was one of those experiences where I felt completely violated. And even though I was home, a big tough guy, you know, I felt completely violated. That's one story. And I have a few stories to tell you how I got to this point where I'm the person that I am today. Another incident that happened, well, we've had another major impactful incident. So a side note is when you get to be a doctor with some esteem, you know, some awareness in communities, and there's articles written about you and that sort of thing. You might end up on the news, you end up in paper articles, those sorts of things, and featured, and you become on a list of some unsavory people, and it, you know, because you're looked at as a potential easy target for extortion or money and all. So we had 2 identity theft situations. Now, identity theft isn't just taking your credit card and spending and all. It's where people will take your identity and they get as much data from you about you as they can. And I'll post an article on identity theft on our website, Mindful Living Sanctuary. I'll do that in the next couple of days. And comment to me if I don't do that. But twice we had identity theft, and that can cost you, man, talk about feeling violated. Your identity is being used to do all sorts of things. And so those things made me hyper vigilant about all of the steps that I've taken to secure our data and our information and to document things. So identity theft is no laughing matter. It's emotionally crushing, more so than being violated by someone stealing from you. It takes a while to rebuild your credit, all sorts of things. And then you have to prove that you are who you are, and that that person who's pretending to be you in this other location is not actually you. And the police are of no help whatsoever. At least those were my experiences. So that meant I had to do all of the steps, and it took weeks to get things straightened out, and you know, sleepless nights going through and proving that I'm me, and that I'm not that other person is not me. So that's another huge story that I'm not going to go into detail with, but identity theft twice. Then let me see what would happen next. So while I was practicing, one of my clients shared a story with me. Now I knew that that he was in a terrible car accident, an absolutely terrible car accident, and he lost his wife. And it was one of those, I think that they're rare events where this person, and they're not that rare events because this has happened twice in my life to people I know. But they were driving on 481, 2 lanes going and one going south and 2 lanes going north. And they were traveling, everything was fine, and there was another person who was going the wrong way at that time on 481, and did a head-on collision with them, killed his wife, and he survived. Now this person was ultimately ended up in prison, and I knew all of this stuff had happened, and a really wonderful person as a client and all. I took care of his pets, and who had critical issues as well. And I saw him, this had all blown by, and it was probably close to a year later when he visited. He was all stressed out, and he had been sued by the person who was driving the car. This person's in prison, and he got sued. And these things aren't just easily dismissed because this guy was a bad guy. There are all sorts. He had an attorney that alleged that that he was partially responsible for his wife's death, and that he should have been able to avoid the accident and all. And that shocked me. That whole, our judicial system and a criminal being allowed to sue someone who had lost their spouse, devastating, crushing events and all, that shocked me. And this happened years ago, and this client ended up being one of my wife's clients as well, at a general practice in Syracuse, New York. So that was another incident that happened. Then, years before, when Thea and I were running the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center here, this was the older buildings that we had here. There were, on the next road over, which we own property over there now, there was unsavory visitors or family members of one of the households over there. And they were hunting over here. And so I heard the shots going off. Thea and I both took off. And I was going down our little road over there, off to the side there. Now this was years ago. Everything looked different here. So I was running through the woods, running after them. They saw me. They turned around and they fired a shot at me. Now I don't know if they were aiming at me, but it's an eye opener or ear opener when you hear that slug going through the trees by you. And that was an experience. Now Thea actually chased them down. we were different when we were younger, and she screamed out, "Are you gonna run from a woman?" And they stopped and all, but I was beside myself. I mean, my heart was racing. I was a young man who wasn't as calm-tempered as I am now. But that was, and I won't go into any more of that story, but that was another event that made me feel, and that was early in life when I was young and invincible. And my kids were young at that time. It was just one of those things in life where I just couldn't believe that would happen to me and all. And believe me, I was scared when that slug went whizzing through the brush and trees by me. And I'm not certain that they aimed at me, but it was in my direction. So that's another story. And then one other story here, just a couple years ago, and I mentioned this when I was out next to the wood yard there. We have these rumble wall blocks, and so if you look in some of the videos where the strawberry beds are, those are handicap beds that I made years ago, and they're made out of rumble wall, which is concrete blocks that are 4 inches by 8 inches by 16 inches long. and I did landscaping up at the top of our property at the driveway entrance and also down at the corner of our property. And I think this was 2 years ago. A man who just got released from prison the day before, he had taken an unregistered car that wasn't his, that he didn't have a valid license for, and he went off the road. His story to the sheriffs was that a deer had run out. Now that's if the sheriffs actually looked at the tracks or looked at camera images and all, they could have easily seen, and I filmed the whole site up there. But I was out back, working out back out there, and I didn't know that this had happened. One of my neighbors called me and said, "Hey, you know that your stone wall is down." And I was working on stone walls. I was taking stone walls and building roads out back at the time. And I was thinking, okay, so they saw some of the stone walls that I was taking down. When you're taking them down, sometimes they're not neat stone walls like they were. They're spread out. So I was thinking that that's what they meant. And Thea was busy someplace else as well. And I can't remember where she was, but I was down in back working. So the sheriffs had come to our door and then left, didn't leave any notes or anything, didn't call us. All our information is easily attainable by the sheriff's department. And our neighbors from across the road, really fine people. They're some of the ones that operate the bulldozers, the equipment around here, and really, really good people. A large family that we've known for years. They're all grown men now. These kids are all grown men with their own kids that are grown now too. But they saw that the car had gone through our block wall, wiped things out, flipped, was upside down and all. And the guy, he was so out of it, drugged up, that he didn't get hurt. And he said, "Hey, can you get your tractor and just flip the car over and I'll be on my way?" And they said, no. So they called the police. And so when the sheriffs came and all this, they investigated things and they just released him. And I'm thinking, my God, this guy, they know he doesn't have a license. They know he just got out of prison the day before. They know that, they had to know that he was high on drugs. If they had looked at the site or done any investigation, they could see that the guy had traveled hundreds of feet through some of the wooded area before hitting that. And he had to be going at a high rate of speed. So my confidence in government officials, and I don't want to make disparaging comments about our police, because I really think the police really need to be held up for all the things that they've done, amazing things. They can be heroes, but not all of them are. Not all of them. You wonder why the hell they let this guy go. But that made me think about, geez, somebody hits something on your property and they can sue you if you're fairly wealthy. So all of these sorts of things, I'm sorry this video is taking so long, I'm telling Michael about, and he understands, okay, so I'm a hyper-vigilant person, I have all these cameras, because I realize after, being in the house dead asleep when some criminals were stealing my tractor, vandalizing my medical equipment and my truck, another person drives head-on into someone else, and they end up suing the party that lost their life, the person who was doing everything correctly. My thoughts are, and our whole identity theft situation, do as many things as we can to document everything and get as many perspectives as possible. Because when you walk on the property here, you see all the different cameras, you see them tracking you. Oh, here's another event. This happened last year. Someone, I don't think we were home at the time, but I get alerts when someone's driving by the cameras and all, they'll give me an alert. And so someone, drove all the way out out back, turned around, oh, I was here, saw me, and kept right on going, left. That's right, I was here. I was right on the other side over here. And so I was coming up to stop them here between this building and the garage here, and they just kept right on going. Now I was able to get their license, their identity, all of that sort of thing, but that's someone who didn't have good intentions. Then we had a few people come down the driveway here, and Thea reminded me of this last night. They were coming down the driveway, and you can, you know, I hate to say it this way, but you can judge people by the way that they're looking, the way they look, the way they present themselves. And I think these folks were up to no good. They got down a little ways, and you could see them pointing to the cameras. They turned right around and they headed back out. You know, and so I've got all of that stuff, you know, recorded and backed up in the computer systems. So, yeah, so these are all of my stories. I think that's all of the stories right there. So yeah, I'm very protective. I realize that if somebody wants something bad enough, they're going to take it. They're going to destroy it if they're jealous or whatever. But my goal is to document everything and to do as best as I can. And I don't believe in the DVR systems because they're so easy to break. I don't like the Wi-Fi systems because it's so easy to jam those signals and all. You know, you can buy the tools for those things right on Amazon. And that's why everything's hardwired with all our camera systems and all. And the cameras that you could see on the outside, they're being watched by other cameras that you can't see. And because I realize that one of the things that criminals are going to do is they're going to try to deactivate your systems. They're going to jam your Wi-Fi, jam your cell, but if you're hardwired and all, you're in good. And if they try to take out your power, you've got backup power as well. So that's, I guess those are the reasons why, one of the things that makes me so different, and why I'm so different as far as security goes. I hope that all makes sense. So that was my conversation, well, part of the conversation that I just thought I'd share some of these things with you. And I guess that's about it. This is a long enough video. I'm not sure just what I'm going to do today. I need to get some more work done in the eastern garden plot. I need to get work done at every place around here and all. And I have had questions about the songs that I'm posting in some of the videos. These are just my thoughts, my experiences, the things that I'm thinking about, and I just sort of pump them out and hope that they have some impact. And I have gotten positive feedback. Todd, who comes out here and works and all, he's shared that, you know, at least one of the songs it made him reflect, and that's cool. So just sharing my thoughts, my experiences, and so you see this guy running around and all doing what I do. There's some of the reasons why I'm the way that I am, I guess. So I guess that's it for today's video, folks. I appreciate you watching. I love any comments. If you've had similar experiences, let people know. You know, we're in different times now, and a lot of people don't believe that you have to work hard to get the things that you need in life or that you desire in life. Some folks just want to come and take away from others and all, and that's not cool with me. So I hope you all enjoy this video. Stay safe, take care, and I hope the sun is shining where you're at. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.